Welcome. In this explainer, we're diving into a solution that's really changing the game for how we travel and even relocate for longer stretches of time. It's called the Serviced Apartment, and it's a brilliant fix for a very common travel headache.
So have you ever been in that spot where you need a place to stay for, say, a month or two? It's that tricky in-between period, way longer than a typical vacation, but not long enough to sign a whole year-long lease. It often feels like you're stuck with two less-than-perfect options.
On one side, you've got the hotel room. Sure, it's convenient, but it's also cramped. You probably don't have a kitchen, and those nightly costs, they add up fast. On the other side, there's a traditional rental, but that comes with the whole headache of finding furniture, getting locked into a long lease, and setting up all the utilities. It's a real dilemma.
But what if there was a third option? One that actually gives you the best of both worlds. Well, this is exactly where the Serviced Apartment comes into play, offering a super smart solution to this exact problem.
Okay, so what is it exactly? A serviced apartment is basically a fully furnished apartment that you can rent for a short trip or a longer stay. But here's the key. It comes with hotel-style perks. We're talking housekeeping, maintenance, the works, all handled by a professional management team. It's like getting the convenience of a hotel, but in the comfort of a real home. People call this the ultimate turnkey experience, and honestly, that's the perfect way to describe it. Everything is set up and ready to go from the second you walk through the door. You can forget about calling movers, setting up Wi-Fi, or making a mad dash to the store for pots and pans. You literally just show up with your suitcase.
So who's this for and why are they picking this option? Well, from business travelers to families who are relocating, the appeal really seems to come down to three big things: space, savings, and frankly, sanity.
Let's start with space, because this is a huge one. On average, a serviced apartment gives you about 30% more living area than a hotel room at a similar price point. That's not just a little extra room to stretch your legs. That's a serious upgrade in comfort.
And all that extra space leads to what you could call the 5 freedoms of furnished living. I mean, think about it. Moving in is totally stress-free. You save a ton of money by not having to buy furniture. Your Wi-Fi and kitchen are good to go on day one, and you get the peace of mind that comes with professional cleaning and quick maintenance. It's all about making relocating way, way easier.
And to really put that 30% number in perspective, one source points out that a basic one-bedroom can be almost double the size of a standard hotel room. That means you get separate areas to work, cook, and actually relax, which is a total game changer on a longer stay.
But it's not just about having more room to spread out. The financial side of this is just as important. For any kind of medium to long-term stay, serviced apartments are often way more cost-effective. You're simply getting more bang for your buck.
And the price range is incredibly wide, which really depends on where you are in the world. For instance, in a city like Dhaka, a studio could run you anywhere from $30 to $1,500 a month. But then you look at a major hub like London, and that range jumps to roughly $1,500 to $3,100. What this really shows is just how flexible the model is. It works in both emerging markets and really expensive ones.
So the demand is definitely there. But what does it take to actually provide these places? Let's switch gears for a second and look at this from a property owner's point of view. What are the essential steps to turn a regular property into a successful premium rental like this?
For owners, success really seems to boil down to 3 key things. First, you've got to invest in quality furnishings. It helps people imagine a comfortable life there, not just a temporary stop. Second is getting the right insurance, which is super important, and we'll talk more about that in a sec. And third is just meticulous preparation. A well-staged, clean unit is always going to rent faster.
Let's circle back to that insurance point, because this is a pitfall a lot of people don't see coming. Your standard homeowner's policy, it probably won't cover you if you're renting your place out commercially. You absolutely need a specific landlord insurance plan to properly protect your investment.
For many owners, just bringing in the pros is the smartest move you can make. Properties that have dedicated management usually see higher occupancy rates, maintenance issues get fixed faster, and they do a better job of screening tenants. At the end of the day, it just lowers the risk and the day-to-day workload for the owner.
All right, so we've looked at this from the renter's side and the owner's side. Now let's zoom out a bit. What does the rise of the serviced apartment really tell us about the future of how we live and travel?
What's really fascinating is just how diverse the group of people using these apartments is. It's not one single niche. Of course, business travel and relocations are a big piece of the pie, but you also see leisure travelers, people who need temporary housing while their home is being renovated, and even folks who need a place to stay for medical reasons. This flexibility is really the key to its growth.
And that brings us to our final big question. In an era of remote work and digital nomads, those old lines between work, life, and travel are getting blurrier by the day. So, are we starting to move past the simple idea of a vacation and more towards a future where we can genuinely live anywhere we want in the world, even if it's just for a little while? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.